Now then, my name is Mike Tinian, and I'm struggling a little bit to write my book. So I've been thinking for a little while about why I've got so far, and I can't. It's not that I can't go any further. I've just struggled to move forward. I am. I've got certain. I finished chapter 12 the other day, and it's been a bit of a chore. So the Tinternet has come to my aid, and I've sat and thought about why I'm struggling, and I think a lot of it is R. Hayward. He's a he writes sort of dystopian zombie sort of books. He's done about 30 of them in the series. And he said you can write books in threes. It comes in threes. The first third is, it's easy. It comes easier to you. It flows better. The middle third is a nightmare, and I think that's where I am. And the third third, the last third is where you come out of the doldrums, and it anyway. But I wrote the first 10 chapters sort of relatively well, but I've written them from the seat of my pants. I've pantsed them. In the last 2 chapters, I've planned a vague outline, and I've written from the vague. It's not a plan as such, but it's a vague outline of what the characters in the chapter, what's going to go on in the chapter, and it's worked a little bit better. Coffee. So I know some people just have an idea, and they write, and then it flows out of them like verbal diarrhea, and at the end of it, everything's fine. But I think I'm the sort of bloke who needs a sort of plan. I watched a video the other day about planning and doing boxes and this and that and the other, and I thought, oh my God, it'll take me years to work that out. But but also what is preventing me finishing it is I keep going back and trying to make what I've already written better. And it is what was the I can't remember her name, but it was on a podcast I listened to the other day, and she said, I've written it down, perfectionism prevents progress. By going back over what you've already done, you really do struggle with moving forward. And it's absolutely right. But also the thing that I think I find is fear, and it's that there's a thing on TikTok that says, what if it's good? What if it's bad? What if people like it? What if people don't? And that in your head, when you're writing it, and you think, oh, that's quite good. Well, my John's reading I've given him the first chapters to read, and he says it's quite good. So, and then I'm thinking, if it's good and it sells, then you've got the pressure of writing a book that matches what you've already written. But conversely is, what if it's bad and no one buys it? And then the second book in the series, it has to be better than the first book to sell better than the first one did. And it goes on, and it's that, that mental twist of the brain that makes your head pop. And I can't, and what is it? She's that, I can't remember, Gilbo, I think her name was. Gilbo. Rings a bell. Anyway, she said that pick a path, choose a route, and stick to that route. Because when you look at Facebook, and you look at YouTube, and you look at people on TikTok, they tell you this is the way to do it, and then you look somewhere else, and they go, this is the way to do it, not that way. Do it this way. So I've got to choose a route, and I don't, I don't know what route to choose, but I think choosing that route and sticking to it and not worrying about, because what she also said is um, people become perpetual students instead of practicing writers. And I think that's very, very, very good advice, because what I've done, I'm listening to people who are probably no more qualified to write a book than I am, telling me about how I should write a book, and then watching someone else to tell me that what they've said is completely different to what the person prior has already said. So I think the way I need to move on is to pick a book, pick a route, stick to that route, write a small plan, move forward, and crack on. Because if I don't, then I'll never finish this book. There's a little statistic for you. So 95% of the population of the world has an idea for writing a book, but only 3% of those people write a book. These are the figures. So the last figures up for the world population was 8.062 billion people. So 95% of those is 7,658,900,000. No, 658,900,000. So 3% of that 7.6 billion is 229 million books. So it's writing a book. 229,767,000. Did the math. It's a taxi receipt. So 229,767,000 people a year write a book. Not all of them are published, but that is the statistic. So if you want to be those, it's not as daunting as everyone makes it out to be, I'm sure, but those are the statistics. So pick a path, write a small plan. What was the other one? Don't get caught up in other people's nonsense. One says this, the other says that. Move on, write your own book, and the magic happens in the edits, so they say.